Discover College Soccer is brought to you by Veo. Right now, you can save big on the Veo Cam 3. Upgrade your sports recording setup and save $400 on the Veo Cam 3 when you purchase a minimum 1-year subscription and a tripod. Don't miss out on this limited time offer that ends August 31st. Shop now and capture every moment with precision and clarity. Click on the link below to get your savings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach McClain from Limestone in South Carolina. Welcome, Coach.
All right, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Excited to talk to you. So, you and I are just talking about it's July 15th when we're talking. So we're 1 month past that amazing June 15th recruiting date that is on a lot of people's minds. Did you guys start any 26 recruiting on the 15th? Or are you still focused on 25s and I'll get to it later? Or kind of what's your normal recruiting timeline?
Yeah, I mean, we reached out to a few that have really stepped out to us, more local kids. As far as the 2026s, trying to just reach out to those local players more so. Um, still focusing on 2025 mainly right now. Have two commits for 2025, so we are way ahead of schedule than we were last year as a staff. As far as last year I got hired middle of March, um, so much more prepared for this coming recruiting season.
Yeah, I can imagine. Never fun getting hired with not much time to spare. So, if you have your druthers, kind of when would you like to lock in for the most part? Because I know there's always a caveat, right? There's always that one player that you might take late, but in general, when would you like to lock down a class ahead of time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty we usually, if you want to put a time on it, we're looking at beginning of March to really lock down a class. Um, I'm sure we'll get into it a little bit later, but we do a lot of international recruiting. Um, so some of those showcases go a little bit longer, or are in January, February, March time frame. So usually about middle of March, we look to have our class absolutely completed. Obviously, this season, for example, we had a couple late additions in April, but we thought, hey, they're going to be good player, a good fit for our program, so why not bring them in? Doesn't matter the time.
Yeah, well, and you brought up the international side. Would you say you're about a 50-50 roster, close to that?
Yeah, we're about a 50. Yeah, which is where I usually like to keep it, is where I'm going to strive to keep it. Obviously, one year we might have more internationals come in. The next year we might have more American kids coming in. Um, for me, trying to find that balance, because this is my real first time delving into the women's side of the game. I was previously on the men's side for 12 years, so coming into the women's side is the recruiting cycles are a little bit different. Um, than the boys. Boys usually you can wait a little bit later than the girls, but as I'm finding out quickly, you have to reach out to these players a lot sooner than on the men's side.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. As a dad of a daughter, I can attest to that. Well, what is there a roster size that you're trying to hit that you find is ideal?
Yeah, so we're required by our program, our AD to have 35 on the roster, and we are lucky in our location in South Carolina in the upstate, that we just have Division II programs all over the place, Division I programs all over the place, D3s. So what we like to do is we add about 5 extra players on top of what I'm required to have. So we're looking at about 38, 40, because we do run a full reserve team. Some people call it a development team. With 35 players on a roster, you're looking at 10, 15 that really aren't going to get minutes during a season. If we're being realistic about things, so increasing a couple more players to make sure that we can have that full reserve team. We're looking at having 10 reserve games this year. So, those players that aren't getting the minutes on the first team will be able to, obviously have game time minutes, not only for them in their personal development, their soccer development, but it also keeps them a lot happier. They're still getting to play in games. They're saying, hey, coach, I'm ready. You know, so we're really excited. We weren't able to do it last year because of the time frame I got hired. I had 34 players last season. 7 of them started the season injured, so it was getting to the point we were getting pretty thin. So kind of had to cancel those. So we're really excited to bring those back this year within our program. Just there's no reason. A lot of the teams around here have development teams. We're also lucky enough to be around so many clubs, so we can play the upper level U19s throughout the season with our reserve program, and um, really give those kids an opportunity to play where areas. If you're on another in another program that has 30, you're probably not going to see a lot of those minutes your freshman year.
Yeah. Well, you talked about the international recruiting. Does the transfer portal come into play for you guys at all as you're filling out that roster?
Yeah, we do. We do have, we do look at the transfer portal. Um, I'm probably one of the coaches that doesn't mind it as much. I'm to the opinion of a coach can take another job at any moment. I think the players should kind of have the same, kind of thing. Now, is it getting a little out of control? A little bit, a little bit. But yeah, we look at the portal. Obviously, if you can, because for just like us as adults, coaches, sometimes you get into a situation that just isn't the best for you. And it's the same for the players. So I believe I tell my team that, hey, if for any reason that you're unhappy here, the portal is there for you. Now it's not a land of rainbows. Like it's not like you put your name in there and just coaches start emailing you right off the bat. Um, so you need to know what you're getting into. And we try to educate, our players that we have in our program to the best of our ability about what the transfer portal looks like, if that's something they're looking into. That way they're prepared for that. But we have lost some. I tell my players, if there's, we're a Division II school. We had a player transfer to a bigger mid-major this past year, and I didn't have a problem with that, just because she will be playing at a higher level and get more exposure at that level.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you did mention you guys are in a great location there, the North-South Carolina kind of border. And where do you like to go find the domestic 4-year freshman, typical recruit? What tournaments you like to go to? Where are you looking to find those players?
Yeah, so of course, my assistant, I wasn't able to go down to Florida this year, but she went down in January, down to ECNL in Florida. So she was down there for both ECNL and RL. So she was there for the whole week. I spent my time in December going overseas to look at players at the showcases overseas. We go to GA showcase because we're lucky enough to only be about hour and a half from Greensboro. So we hit all those Greensboro events every year because it's so close. My assistant coach also did NCFC this year. So like I said, location is actually perfect for us. Most of the trips are just within a 2-hour drive. So a lot of the larger events. Also do a lot of the club showcases. We have lucky enough to have CISA just right up the street from us. We have Charlotte Independence, Charlotte Soccer Academy. So I mean, we just have so much around us. It's kind of nice. That's why we try to hit a lot of those local players first, because honestly, we really don't have to go out of our tri-state area.
Yeah, for sure. Well, whether it's a local player, an international player, a transfer player, what is it that kind of makes up the hierarchy of things you're looking for in a player, whether that's on the field attributes or off the field stuff?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the way we play, we're looking at that technical ability first and foremost. So being obviously having the technical ability, what are you doing off the ball? We look at off the ball movements a lot because the way we play. So are you just standing there like a statue or a tree growing roots out of your feet, or are you being active off the ball? Are you making those sacrificial runs in behind if you're a forward? We tell our forwards, listen, you're not going to get the ball every time. You might not get the ball the entire game when you make that run in behind, but that's just something you have to do. So finding those players that, finding the players that have that drive, that ambition, that they want to, we get this a lot from our internationals, a lot, our American players more so now that we now have 2 pro women's leagues starting up, this year. We have that new one coming in. So, to have those players that show that ambition and drive that they just want to learn every day and come out. So that's kind of what we look at. Obviously, I can give the typical cliche answers all the time. I think pretty much coaches, if you go to a showcase, you're going to see 2 or 3 players that you look at, and pretty much everyone on that field is looking at them.
Yeah. Well, one thing we didn't talk about in terms of recruiting is camps. Do you guys do ID camps? Do your staff work other ID camps? Are they important to you guys at all?
Yeah. My assistant's currently, she worked Penn State last weekend. She's working right now. She's at Virginia Tech during their camp, and then we'll both be working Clemson's ID camp this coming week. Like I said, the area is just everything for us. So we're lucky enough, the Clemson staff is great to work with in their camps. And obviously they draw a large crowd of good players from all over. So it's a very good place for us to go and, work with other staffs and also, see a lot of players all at once within, a three-day period. We do run our ID camps here at Limestone. So we try to do one in the preseason, right before our girls start. So, and one in the winter and the November timeframe. And then we usually try to do one in the spring. They've been very successful. We keep our numbers small. I really want to take, the time to actually give a proper evaluation to players that, spend the money. They come to our ID camp. We do directly recruit from our ID camps. We have 2 players coming in this year that are from our ID camp that I had no idea about beforehand. Also, 2 25s that are committed came to one of our ID camps and really showed out when, we had some of our players able to come in, got to see the levels. So, yeah, we've identified plenty of players through our ID camp process that we have here. We usually like to keep our numbers around 20. That way we can actually get a proper look at the individuals that spend the time and come. Then luxury for Division II, we also, we have the tryouts, so you can actually participate in training. So some of these 25s we'll bring in during our season, and they'll train with the team. That way we can obviously gauge their level right off the bat, and they're playing with our current players, see how they fit in. And I think that's a really big benefit that we have at Division II that we like to use. So, if they can do it as a junior or a rising senior, some of these 25s I'm very excited about. They can come in right now and play. So, we do like to use that tryout process as long, in tandem with our ID camps.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the school. You've been there over a year now. So what is it that you found that, really sticks out? What's some awesome things about the school? Maybe some things we wouldn't even know by going through the website.
Yeah. So, first off, we share like an office suite with the men's program. It's a very close work environment for us. My best friend, we were assistants together for 5 years at Gardner-Webb University, just right up the road from us on the men's side. So having the men's head coach, we're working together just on different teams right now. His assistant I coached in college, and then my assistant I brought in just fits really well within our office space. So that's the first thing. I think it's important for our players to see both of our staffs, getting along the way we do. The office suite, the head coach of the men's team will talk to, some of the girls that walk into the office, just have conversation with them. Same with me and the boys. So I think that's really kind of a big thing for us as far as our culture within our programs, just roping in the men's program into that. I think it's very good for those teams, especially to support one another. Limestone's a very athletic driven school. 85% of our students are athletes here. So it's very competitive as far as everyone's competing already at the school. as far as facilities go, we do have 2 turf fields. So we have a smaller field that's turfed that we'll use for training. If we're on that field for training, we'll usually just do like a more of a technical session. Can't really go full-sided because it's not full width. But when we're on the game field, we have the huddle camera out there, so we'll film every session that we're out there. That way, if there's something I see in training, I can physically show a player, hey, this is what we're looking at. I know you see it one way on the field when you're playing, but this looks different, doesn't it? So it's really good to have those kind of resources for us to use as coaches while we're using our facilities. And the family environment here. We'll go, I've talked about the athletic side. Athletic side is great. Fully supported with, our administration. They want us to be successful. A lot of our teams from different programs have been successful over the years. Our men's and women's lacrosse teams are just unbelievable. Our men's lacrosse team here was #1 in the country for majority of the year. So just having that drive and that competitiveness on campus is good for the athletes. I'm lucky enough that my goalkeeper coach is a professor on campus and heads up one of the business program for sports management. So he's an absolute legend on campus. Can't go anywhere with them because every athlete talks to him. But yeah, the academic side, we have, if our athletes are struggling in the classroom, we have our student success department that, they can go in anytime to help the students with whatever classes they need, tutoring, anything like that. Another big thing is we've tied in academics with athletics because obviously athletics is so heavy here. So I think the first line of defense for everyone is the coach as far as, academics go. So we're tied into a system with them that they can send an alert, a professor can send an alert, and it'll notify everyone in that chain. So if any one of my players, if they're missing too much class, I'll get an alert on that. That way we can have that conversation with the student early and make sure that they're, meeting the criteria to be academically successful.
Okay. Well, take us, we're going to fast forward, take us into the heart of that conference season. Walk me through what a typical week's going to look like for the players in terms of when is practice, classes, meals, game cadence, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I think pretty standard for pretty much everyone during that time. They'll go to breakfast in the morning. Classes usually start at 8 a.m. They'll go to 11:50. Girls will go to lunch. All classes are done at 1:50. So we start training at 2 o'clock. So, obviously we have a couple that are in class at that time. They freak out. They're like sprinting to training. It's like, it's okay. I understand. You're coming from class. Just get a good warm up. Don't jump straight in. And we try to encourage most of our students that are in, your bio labs, anything like that, that they try to do those in the spring. Because those labs are from either 2 to 4 or 4 to 6. So that obviously cuts into our training time in the fall. So we encourage them to, hey, we'll push this to spring, get something else done in the fall. If you have to miss one training in the spring, it's okay. Like that's when we need to get our course loads done in the spring. And then during the season, they'll be in the weight room twice a week with our strength coach. We're lucky enough that the head strength coach here, she chose us to work with us. So they're in there with the strength coach twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, because our games are usually Wednesday, Saturday, which I think is pretty standard now within the Division 2. So we'll do like Tuesday in the weight room. It's going to be more of your activation workout, getting ready for the game. And then Thursday will be a little bit more of a recovery, but a little bit heavier weights, because believe it or not, weightlifting is, very good for recovery of the body. Trying to cut down on as many of those muscle injuries as possible for the girls because the college season is a grueling season. Put that on top of, some of these freshmen come in and don't realize how physical just the one jump is to college soccer at any level. That goes down D1 to D3, NAIA. It's just a more physical game. The one thing I said a lot on the sideline last year was, coming from the men's was these refs are letting these girls get away with murder out here. Like sometimes I'm like, if this is a men's game, that's a yellow card. It might be a red, and it's nothing here. So that's one thing I found is, these girls, they're not ones to, just get, kicked and go down. They're trying to push through everything, which, I kind of admire. So, um, it's been a good transition for me and coming to a place like Limestone, that, they made me feel welcome from the very start. It's not many times you get, to be honest, it's not very many times the soccer coach gets, the head football coach just comes in the office and have a chat. So I think it's a very special place. And with it being so athletic, driven here, it builds that competitive nature with everyone. Everyone, all the coaching staff, we're going to run. They're always in here the next day. Hey man, congrats, keep going, keep going. And it's good for the coaching staffs to be that close. Just if times, it doesn't matter the sport, we've all seen the same problems within our programs, or, you're going through a losing streak, go talking. I can go next door to the baseball staff and say, hey, man, like, what are some things you guys have done in the past, to try to break out of this slump, So it's a really family environment here, really open. I can't say enough good things about that, about here.
Awesome. Well, let's talk more about the team. You mentioned a little bit there the overall the staff. Talk to me about what all is the staff, maybe some of the support staff besides soccer staff may help out with the team that players would be interacting with.
Yeah, so obviously myself, and then I have my full-time assistant, Adeline Fitzgerald. She's coming to us from a Division III school. I always butcher the name, so I'm not even going to attempt to do it now. But she's been absolutely phenomenal. I got a lot of interest in the application process for finding an assistant. Thought I was going to roll solo last season, and she came in, had an interview right at this time last year, actually. Offered her the job, and she moved in the same day the girls did last year. So, it's been great, just having her here. And this year we're planning a lot more things, obviously, because we've had a lot more time to prepare for the preseason. And then also we have our goalkeeper coach, Dr. Jaime Orajon. He comes out with the goalkeepers, he's, a volunteer, but he's part of our staff and involved with everything in the program. Like I said, absolute legend on campus. So, all the students, not only our team, but, everybody else within the athletics department absolutely loves them. Then we have a full-time strength and conditioning coach that works with our team. So like I said, during the fall, she'll have them twice a week for about an hour, running them through the weight room. And then during the spring, she'll have them 3 times a week, really focusing on that strength aspect. Obviously, physical game, we need to put on a little bit of muscle. Some of these kids probably haven't lifted a weight until they got to college. I think that's changing a lot, though, these days. I think a lot more kids now are in the weight room at a much younger age. So it's not such a culture shock to them when they get to college. So I think that's good. And we also have a full-time, athletic trainer for us in the fall. So she works us in the fall and then does baseball in the spring. So, it's really nice. Our practice facility is right next to the baseball field. So if we ever need her in the spring season, she just jumps right over. So it's really nice. And, obviously we have a good system here with the athletic trainers. If they want to schedule a time with the trainer, we have an app that's set up. They just go onto the app. If our trainer's not available, they can request to go see another trainer for treatment. Our athletic training staff here is phenomenal and work together really well and take athletes from other sports to make sure that our athletes are getting the best care possible.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about you. How would you describe your coaching style of play that you're looking to play there?
Yeah, so for us, it's funny. I think I get kind of a a bad rap sometimes. I was former military. I joined the military right out of high school, and um, there's always a thought of I have a big red beard. I do have tattoos, so the girls are like, "You look kind of scary." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't like to yell." So for me, it's our style of play. We'll call it more possession based. I think a lot of coaches these days are looking to it's not 1992 and a 4-4-2 where we're just lumping the ball up forward and trying to win second balls. So we want to play a more attractive style of soccer. So we're playing, but it's one of those things. I just want players with a good level of understanding of the game. Those high level soccer IQ players, you don't have to be the fastest, but it's your recognition of time and space. Can you fill the half space? Can you jump into the pocket when you're supposed to? So we're looking to ping the ball around like we're 2011 Barcelona, and go to goal very quickly once we bring the opponent in. Um, Yeah, it's pretty much me in a nutshell. I don't like to yell. If I yell, the girls know they've done something. I've done enough yelling in my past life to cover a lifetime. So for me, it's just about, how can we make our overall experience for our players the best as possible. Obviously we want to be competitive. We want to win games, and there's a time to be professional. But I tell the girls like, hey, listen, we got to be locked in for training. As soon as I don't use whistle. As soon as I say training's over, hey, it's time. We can have fun. Make sure you're getting the stretch, but it's time to have fun now. You're only going to get this opportunity once as far as your college playing experience, and we're trying to make it the best experience possible.
Love it. Well, Coach, I really appreciate the time. I'm going to leave you with one last question. And if you could give us one piece of advice, one nugget of info, if you think every prospective student athlete should know while they're going through this process, what would that be?
Yeah, I think just number one, make sure you watch a college soccer game at every level. Um, I'm actually kind of surprised how many kids don't go and physically watch a college soccer game. I think it's important for them to go watch that, at every level. Go pick a D1 program, go watch a game. All of the D1 games are on ESPN Plus for the most part. So tell mom and dad to get a subscription. But I promise you, it looks a lot different in person than it does on TV. Look, it's a lot faster in real life. So make sure you go to games, watch games, kind of see, okay, I can truly see myself playing at this level. This is the level I need to be at. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty sure everyone except for D1 can have you come on, in the fall or the spring and train with the team. Take opportunities to do that, because I've had some kids, of course, they come in, they're like, it's D1 or bust, and I'm like, hey, just come to our program, come and train, and then you can make a judgment call from there. And then they come up after the training session, they're like, coach, this was a lot different than I thought. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. So with everyone streaming games now, whether it be on YouTube, ESPN Plus, the South Atlantic Conference that we play in, we stream all of our games on Flow Sports. So there's just so much out there now that kids can watch that obviously I didn't have access to when I was coming up through high school. I'm sure you didn't either. I talked to my old boss. He's like, man, I used to get recruiting VHSs. So now with all the information out there for these kids, you have to use it. Watch games, go to games. I promise there's a school around you that plays, whether it be, for us, I have 3 junior college players coming in this year. I think JUCO is overlooked a lot on the women's side. The men's side, for example, I know I'm kind of backtracking to a different question, before, but that's one thing I've noticed from coming to the women's side is, you go to JUCO Nationals and there's like 15 coaches. On the men's side, it's every coach in the country is at JUCO Nationals. You'll have 80 to 90 coaches watching any one of those games. So, I value, myself and my staff, we value those junior college players because, they kind of still come in with a chip on their shoulder. You know, they're going to show that passion. They're going to show that drive of, yeah, I can play here. Like, I'm ready to play here now. So, you know, we're lucky enough to have a 2-time All-American junior college player coming in. And I think it's important to get those types of players out of JUCO because they'll bring that winning mentality to your team. You know, they know what it takes to be in that championship level team, which is something we're looking to go, you know, obviously go forward in our program.
Awesome. Well, Coach, I really appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck this fall. And if you do get down to the Florida event in January, I'm 3 miles from there. So give me a call. We'll grab a beverage of some variety while you're down. All right.
Yeah, perfect. No, I look
All right.
forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Coach.